We're going to be making a new shot with some new assets. So in this lesson, we're going to have a look at adding assets from the Unreal Engine Marketplace. So for this shot 2, I'd like our character to be standing by the window in the rain as the day passes. But to do that, I'm going to need some extra assets. I want our character to be looking out with rain falling on the window. So I'm going to need some kind of glass material. We're going to jump over the Unreal Marketplace. So to do that, you can Google Unreal Engine Marketplace, or you can go to unrealengine.com and up at the top here, hit Marketplace and browse. So I'm going to go to the Marketplace, search glass material, and luckily, this advanced glass material pack is free. So you should be able to go to this. I'll provide a link in the lesson notes, and you can check this out and download it. But what we're interested in is this wet glass. Once we've purchased it and checked out, you should get this button, Open in Launcher. That's just going to open it up in our Epic Games Launcher. And then from there, we can add to project. So you can see my project is grayed out right now. Now the reason for this, if we come back, we can see supported engine versions. It's 4.8 to 427, and it has 5 early access as well, but I'm actually on 5 preview. Now by the time you're doing this tutorial, this might have an updated asset or might not be an issue, but in reality, this really isn't an issue. We can just go to add to project, we can click on it, and we get this error message. And so in this list, we can see it doesn't have a 5 preview version of this asset. It only has a 5 early access. So there could be issues with code, but typically using a previous version of the engine for stuff like meshes and materials like we're planning on doing isn't going to be an issue. So just click 5.0 early access and then hit add to project. It'll start the download. And once it's downloaded, that'll be added straight into Content Browser. All right, so to see that, let's go back into Unreal and we'll go up the top here to where it says all. And if we're just looking down the list, I can see advanced glass packs. So opening this folder up, we can see we've got a bunch of other folders. We've got the maps, the materials, static mesh, and textures. Now, usually these packs have to come with an overview level. So let's open that up and see what it is. So the overview level's opened it up, and if you remember what happened when we first opened the film set, it has to compile the shaders. So down the bottom right, you'll see preparing shaders right here, and that's just Unreal going through and figuring out how to display all of these different materials inside the level. So while it's going through, we can actually still interact with the scene and browse around. So I'm just going to have a look. So we've got some patterned ones, we've got some dirty glass, some blood and stuff. Some frost, shattered glass, and up the top here we have wet. So this one's a bit too full on, I reckon, but this one would serve nicely. It's got some nice subtle movement on there. So if I select that one, notice how it selects through? That's because when we were editing the scene before, making the set, we'd press T, meaning Unreal is going to ignore any transparent objects. So I'm going to click T again, and now when I select, it'll select the transparent glass. And now on the right here, I can see it's just got a basic window mesh and it's got the M_glass rain. So this is the one I want. So I could go back up here and try and go into materials and find it, but there's this handy little button over here, this little magnifying glass next to a folder. If I click that, it'll actually take me straight there. You can see how we're now a few folders deep. We went into materials, wet, and examples. But this is the exact one I'm looking for, and I didn't have to search for it. Similarly for the glass, we could click the browse to over here, and it'll take us to that mesh. So we don't even need to wait around for all the shaders to be built. We know which asset we want, and I'm gonna go and open up our film level again. So if you go to maps, you should just have one called UFA Intro 01. So open that one up, and you'll be back in this familiar level. So coming back here, I can see that the folders have been left open from when Unreal browsed to them. So I can very quickly go to examples and find this material. So let's go back to our static mesh folder inside the advanced glass pack, and we'll grab out one of these windows and drag it in. So just window 1 should do. So you'll notice it doesn't have the material applied to it. So we're going to go over to our wet folder and examples. And we're going to drag in mGlass Rain. And with that attached, we're just going to push it in to the window a bit. Just using those controls we used when we were creating the set. I'm going to scale it up a bit. Whoops. Just move it over to the middle and scale it up to fit. So we don't need to worry about the top because it's covered by the blind. One thing you'll notice though is it's now cast in a shadow. Watch, I'll turn this on and off. So there's a few ways to fix this. We could go into the material and mess around with there, but let's try and find the setting on the mesh itself. So in a lot of Unreal windows, you're going to find this search bar. We've used it a little bit before to find little bits and pieces here and there, but this search bar we're going to use to sort through this really long list. And you don't always have to know exactly what option you're searching for. So here, I know I want something to do with shadows, so I can start typing shadow. And already I can see the second option down is cast shadow. So I'm just going to turn that off. And now my window isn't casting any shadow. So now that I've got that where I like, I'm going to press W to change my location controls. And I'm going to hold down Alt and drag it to the right. And that creates a new one, like we did it with the pillows. Now I'm going to reselect this one in the middle, and I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift this time, and then drag it to the left. And you'll see it takes the camera with us, which can be kind of handy for helping place it exactly where we want it to be. I'm just going to hold down Alt for this one and drag out a fourth. In this lesson, we learned how to use the Unreal Engine Marketplace to find assets, import them into our project, check out what's included, and bring them into our scene.